It is top 8 of Elestriad Season 3, and today we're bringing you an absolute slugfest between the Lunar King Werts TCG and the full force of the TheLawYGO from the Thunder Pantheon. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, casters of every element. I'm Caleb from the Elestriad, and I'm excited to be back once again as your guide through this epic clash. Just like how I'm here to guide you to where you can pick up Elestrals' brand new set Moonrise, where pre-orders are now open. Don't miss out on this game-changing set. Thunder's last remaining caster is here to take Zeus through to top 8. Let's see what the TheLawYGO has for his match today.
We made it to top 8. Legitimately surprised by that. I didn't think I was going to make it as far as I have, but at this point I want to keep going as long as I can. I'm the only Thunder caster left, so I have to represent Zeus. As such, today we're going to be playing against Werts in a Lunar deck, meaning that he is most likely on one of 3 options, that being Draking, Posthumous, or Pharaohgeist. And as such, we are kind of mostly prepping ourselves for Draking. I kind of suspect that that's going to be what he's on. But we do have options for taking out the other ones as well in our side deck. But kind of getting into it, we're playing a very similar deck to what we've already been playing recently. It's just Thunder good stuff with good old Unkelith. As such, we're going to be playing ourselves 3 Rabbit, 3 Elechick, and 3 Jolton here in the main. You'll notice there is no Toxeon. That is because Toxeon has been cut for other options, which we will get into. We've also got ourselves 2 Quackle, which is effectively 2 additional copies of Ambrosia, 2 Arklith, the big man himself, 2 Necruff, and a Smoltuga. This is a very specific package here. We suspect that he is going to be on a lot of high defense guys if he's playing anything that is not specifically Draking. And with that, we can Thunder Enchant a Necruff under Mount Olympus and get over it with a 6 attacker. Smoltuga allows us to search for it, which is why he's also here, which also meshes well with our water stuff and serves as a really nice wall. We've also got ourselves 2 Eddie for good old removal, as per usual. Kind of moving into our rune lineup, you've got our standard Thunder package here. 2 Mount Olympus, 3 Race to the Top, 2 Zeus. 2 Mount Olympus should be enough for this specific matchup because Werts is on Lunar, the only element that currently does not have a stadium to play. Unless he's playing something like Atlantis, I don't think that we're going to have to lose the stadium war at all. We've also got our removal, so 1 Resting, 1 Earthquake to kind of pair up with the Race to the Tops there. We got ourselves 3 Ambrosia, which is fairly standard at this point for I think every deck. And then for our counter rune lineup, we've got ourselves 2 Altars, 3 Gorgons, 3 Shields, and 2 PTA. Kind of explaining a little bit of the ratios here. Altar needed to be cut so we could make room for the Laurels, because Laurels is going to be a little bit more live, I suspect, with him going into Artemis a lot. Gorgons and Shield are kind of our big runes of choice here, being kind of the best ones for all the matchups. And then PTA kind of just suffered as the worst one going into specifically Draking. If he is on something that's more Ascension heavy, we'll probably swap out a Shield for another PTA. But for now, I feel like this is the right lineup. Spirit deck wise, we're not really doing anything too fancy here. We've got ourselves 4 Leviathan, 2 Teratlus, and then 14 Zaptor. I think that should be plenty. We've been rocking with 15 the past couple of weeks, and quite frankly, 15 has only come up, I think, 1 time. So this should be plenty for what we need to do. As for our side deck, we're side decking for very specific matchups and tendencies here. We're starting up with 3 Galaxy. Galaxy is very specifically a counter for Draking. When Werts plays a Draking properly enchanted, it has a water under it. So we can play Galaxy, which is a 5 attacker into it, and his Draking will drop to a 4/7, which means we can actually swing over it, pending that there is no Gorgon's Gaze. Past that, we've got ourselves 3 Boombat for our Ascension matchups. I kind of do suspect that he might be on Pharaohgeist Reanimator, so I do want to have Boombat as an option to just take that out completely. Past that, if he is playing more aggressive decks, like maybe a 5s kind of pile, we've got ourselves another Quackle, another Unkelith, and another Eddie to kind of bring in over certain options in the deck. Past that, our sideboard is more tailored to other things here. We got ourselves 2 Thunderstorm for if he is going heavier on the Artemis. The only time I kind of see this happening is if he is doing something like an Ascension line into Pharaohgeist kind of deck. Which would require you to do Fawnlit with Artemis very heavily. So Thunderstorm allows us to take out the Artemis in that process. Past that, we've got ourselves 3 Divine Blessing. I do also suspect that he's going to be on some kind of a reanimator list, and the Divine Blessing lets us specifically counter out Rise from the Ashes, so that's going to be really powerful there. Lastly is a single copy of Poison Tipped Arrow in case Shield is not the right call for a matchup. I'm thinking specifically Pharaohgeist. With that said, hopefully Zeus carries us through and we can actually play another match in top 4. I'm really hopeful. I think I have a good shot here. Let's get into it.
A very similar list to what he's played previously. The Law has brought a standard Thunder list with all of the techs he could need for potential matchups. Interestingly, he's concerned about a potential Pharaohgeist matchup and has every single out he might need to prevent a 3-drop from hitting the board. Werts is one of 2 Lunar casters here left in top 8 in a very surprising twist of events. Let's see what he's bringing to try and make top 4.
Yo, what is up, everybody? So top 8 2 Lunar casters, right? Me and Caleb taking it farther than anyone would have expected with Lunar. So now we're going up against Thunder this week. We had a little bit of a tough time against Solar, and Thunder is probably a more difficult matchup than Solar for specifically this 11 Lunar Spirit Lunar deck. So let's just go into the deck. We are playing aggro again because we just have to beat Thunder as fast as possible and try to like ignore Zeus as much as possible, get Drakings out. Though we're playing Quick Ascend, aggro, Draking, right? So Quick Ascend plan, we got our Gloombats for rune control and our Tadpuff to Quick Ascend into Kerberos or Draking pretty easily. Our 2 Drakings. I could have played 3, but we're playing a main deck Kerberos, which we'll go over in a second. 2 Drakids because Quick Ascend possibilities, as well as Drakid's not the greatest into Thunder because they have things like Rabbit they're going to play a lot. 3 Rock in the Hard Place for our Quick Ascend off the Kid and the Eddies. 3 Eddies. And this week we are playing Kerberos in main. I am generally off Kerberos in main due to I'd rather just play 3rd Draking for Hard Ascends and stuff. I'd rather have Draking to Hard Ascend. Kerberos is main here in case they're on Voltempest. 3 Spectares because we need Lunar attackers because we're on so much Lunar. 3 Rabbits because Rabbit is good. Onto the Rune package, we have an Artemis, 1 Royal, 3 Ambrosias, 2 Nogs, 2 Cryoblasts, which is okay in the matchup. It does destroy everything but Rabbit, but it does let us get over Rabbit pretty often. 1 Atlantis for Stadium Wars. They are going to play Mount Olympus. How many Mount Olympus, and if they're on race to the top, I don't know. 3 Gorgon's Gazes, 2 PTAs, 3 shields, 2 PTAs, 3 shield ratios because PTA will knock out any of their kind of Quackles or Rabbits if they want to play those without us taking extra damage. So it's kind of a free removal, air quote. And the shields are going to be good against like Arcolith or even maybe a Phosphocell play where it'll bounce the big attacker with lots of spirits on it. So even though they just recover all the spirits, they'll lose a bunch of them off the shield and I don't have to get hit for it like PTA will get hit for it. And then 2 Tsunamis this time because Thunder has a little bit of tough time playing without attacking with Zeus and stuff. So Tsunami's good here because I can Tsunami, stop a battle phase that they use a Zeus on, so go even on spirits, stop the attack, and then possibly go into Draking shenanigans like that. With our side deck, it's we have 2 Drutaguas if we need to go for a bit of a heal stall mirror match kind of thing. I have the Drutaguas just to get some extra healing going, stall out games longer, just nice walls. 2 Pandora's Box. I've mentioned this the past couple times, but Pandora's Box is great if you're going first because you can set them earlier and stop your opponent from searching. They're kind of bad going second, so I'm going to side 1 or 2 of these into game 2 because I expect them to have Joltons and Elechiks. If I can go turn 1, play Pandora's Box, they go Jolton, and I don't want to waste the Gorgons on it, or if I don't have Gorgons, Pandora's Box is a way to stop Stadium Search, stop Zeus Search, which is going to be super relevant. 1 more Atlantis. If I know for a fact they're now on Stadiums, I'll side in the second Atlantis because I have a bunch of Water Dudes that will take advantage of it. 2 Dense Fogs, not super great into most Thunder matchups. This will come in against like Voltempest, Fade a Griffuse, Fade a Voltempest, Protection. 3 Boombats. There's nothing specific Boombats hit in this matchup, other than if they try to go some crazy aggro the wall strategy, like again like Voltempest and stuff, I can set the Dense Fogs and Boombats just to help take care of that easier. My 3rd Draking, if I feel they're not on Voltempest, I can side my Kerberos out, put 3rd Draking in to do the Draking plays. My 2nd Tadpuff, again, if I feel like they're not playing this towersy big strategy, I can go side into the more aggressive stuff. my third poison tipped arrow if I need to swap a shield out because they're not playing big and tall. They're going like Thunder Nexus, jank them out or something, or Thunder Burn with like toxin stuff. Poison tipped arrow is better against Nexus style decks because it removes the spirits from the board, stop them from nexusing. 2 Mustations because I need dudes for my side deck, and just Mustation. Also, I can misenchant and defense with Thunder if they're on race to top consistently. They'll never really be able to get over a defense walled Mustation with the Thunder if they have Mount Olympus. They will be able to run over this with like an Elestriad plus Zeus, so that's why it's not in the main deck. But generally, if I play the Mustation, it's going to be defense with a Thunder on it. And I can always mischant over into Draking or whatnot just to get a big beater on board, or if I have other Elestrals on board, I'll send Draking, Siphon, a Spirit or 2. Go from there. So yeah, that's the side deck. And then my Spirit deck is just going to be 11 Lunar, 6 Water, 2 Thunder, and a Flurmine for Cryoblast. See you guys in the match. This is probably my toughest match so far. So
Similar to his opponent, Werts is bringing a very similar list to what he brought last week. Due to the lack of Lunar cards in the Daybreak card pool, it's hard for our Lunar casters to accurately tech for potential matchups, but it's interesting to note the 2 Cryoblasts and 1 Atlantis in the main deck. These are going to be very crucial cards for Werts to see going into this matchup to keep the Law off his race to the top. We are here with our race to the top 8 between Uncle Law and King Werts, but there's only one way to know how this turns out. Let's hop right into Clash. We're hopping right into the Clash here, and unfortunately it looks like the Werts had to mulligan and the Law is going first. So even after playing his first card of the game, Elechick, he's still up on Spirit Advantage as he searches out a Zeus from his deck to his hand. He's going to go ahead and set 1 card face down and pass back to Werts. Werts looks at his hand, he shakes his head a little bit, goes for Nectar of the Gods. Gotta be a solid start here, starting out the game at 16 spirits and 7 cards in his hand. We'll see what he draws. Hopefully he's hitting something he's feeling pretty nice about. He's going into not a lot of resistance here. Only 1 back row, and he hits the Cryoblast, something we shouted out in the deck profile overview. Cryoblast, a massive card for keeping the Law off of those cards that he needs to keep his board state. But the Werts, okay, Werts is setting 2 and then casting Gloombat. Interesting order here. Gonna go ahead and play the Gloombat. The question is he going to try and disenchant to pop the back row, or is his game plan just to go swinging? That's actually absolutely what he's going to be doing here, is he's just swinging out, dealing 1 damage, trying to close the gap between himself and the Law. He's already bled out 6 spirits down to 14. The Law going to expend to draw, set 3 back row. Looks like he was trying to play around the Gloombat, and now he feels very confident to go ahead and set the rest of his hand, and he played into a second Gloombat special from hand from Werts. This is going to be an incredible play if Werts is able to go ahead and ascend, potentially. Looks like he's going to just be disenchanting to pop one of the sets. We're deciding which one he's popping. He's popping the original set from turn 1. It was a Shield of Achilles, a solid hit here. A good shout that the first card that the Law is going to be setting is going to be one that is actually going to be live, and he's going to re-enchant his Gloombat to pop a back row. He's selecting the middle one, right over Artemis's wonderful face as well as Apollo. And it's going to be a Gorgon's Gaze. Oh, he's an absolute sniper here, hitting everything he needs to, swing in for 1 damage. Again, closing the gap while also taking out the Law's resources. It's going to be really critical here for Werts' back row to be particularly relevant as he comes out. It's going to be an Eddy from the Law. If this back row is live, Werts absolutely needs to use it here to prevent himself from losing board state, because this Gloombat is going to be crucial for him in this matchup here. Looks like Law's Eddy is getting bounced back to hand. That's going to be interesting because that means that the Law is going to be able to use this Eddy again to swap a Elestral to defense position. The Werts is going to have to play around this from here on out. Werts is going to go ahead and set another back row, consider his options, potentially could go for a re-enchant Gloombat pop again. Looks like that's exactly what he's going to be doing. He's going to re-enchant and then disenchant, targeting one of these back row. We'll see which one he's hitting. He's hitting the one closest to Spirit deck, and it's a poison-tipped arrow. So it looks like the Law left just on 1 back row and I believe 3 cards in hand. Going to go ahead and take 1 damage from that Gloombat. Still up 4 spirits after the cast of Eddy. Misenchanted. Very interesting. Maybe trying to conserve the water spirits left in deck. Maybe doesn't have too many. He is running 4 water spirits in main deck, so maybe he expended them already. Not quite sure. But Werts going to punish that by going ahead and tsunamiing the Eddy, and then Werts going to go ahead and do the same Gloombat disenchant 1 more time, popping the Altar of Stars. swapping Gloombat to attack and hitting over the 1 defense Eddie. Now, Werts is in a fairly solid board state here. The thing is, Law is going to go ahead and going to be able to go for a Quackle at a heal 3, gets poison tipped by Werts, but wow, Law is just up so much on spirit advantage here. Werts has had to invest so many spirits to out this board state. It looks like the Law is going to go ahead and cast out Mount Olympus. Very interesting. Not quite sure. Oh, he's going for the Zeus here. That's why. So this is going to enable the Quackle to hit over Gloombat. Werts did know that that Zeus was in hand. So it was correct to poison tip it, but having the Mount Olympus means that now Quackle will be able to hit over the Gloombat. And then it's up to Werts if he decides to pop in end phase here. Probably going to be something he wants to do, and he will go ahead and do that. But that does put him at a massive 7 spirit disadvantage. That's the thing about Thunder. It is so good at just playing super, super low to the ground, being able to just invest as little resources as possible into setting up a board. Werts going to go ahead and set a back row, play an Astrabbit in attack position that reads that he has a Tsunami sitting back there in his back row, one of the 2 that he has in his deck, or some sort of other back row potentially, maybe a Shield of Achilles. He's going to go ahead and add out one of those 3 cards from the top of his deck to his hand, and then play an Ambrosia. Potentially the card that he saw off the top, very needed for him right now, because he's going to go ahead and make it so he's only half as many spirits below Law, as opposed to even more, as opposed to being at a total 1/3 of the Law's spirits. You go ahead and swing in with 1 damage off the Astrabbit, pass back to Law. Law sitting comfortably, 11 spirits, expend a draw, looking for resources. The Werts probably feeling like he's able to maybe get back into this game, only a 4 spirit differential, maybe get board state, but it is very likely that Law just has so much hand advantage at this point that he's just looking for the last couple of pieces he needs, maybe waiting for Werts to play into Unkelith, which would be able to absolutely just secure this game out the gate for the Law. Werts gonna go ahead and swing for 2 damage and pass back to Law, who's gonna cast out an Elechick, which will get Gorgon's Gaze. A very, very smart play here from Werts, who gets to play the Gorgon's Gaze off of the Astrabbit on field using that extra spirit. And very, very curious what Law is gonna be able to do from here. Just pass, no back row in hand. Maybe all this drawing he's done is just leading to him seeing more Elestrals, and Werts is gonna go ahead and heal off of the Ambrosia, looking for a Thunder and 2 Water. That Thunder re-enchant going to come down on the Astrabbit, and he's going to go ahead and look at the top 3 here. Somehow Werts has scrapped his way back into this game. It looks like only a 2 spirit differential, and he's going to swap that Astrabbit to defense position. Interesting to note that there could have been a way where he decided to crash with the Elechick. His Astrabbit is sitting at a 4 attack right here, but maybe those back row are live, and so he wants that Zeus off the board. He wants to protect his Astrabbit from the attacks here. Astrabbit sitting at a 7 down to 4 attack to the 5 attack Elechick. And the question is, that back row live, does Werts have a Shield of Achilles here? Should be a massive hit. Gorgon's Gaze also going to be a solid option here. Equally as expensive as a Shield of Achilles, but potentially less value, as that Elechick is going to stay on board. Werts going to go ahead and draw for turn, set a back row, look at his spirit deck, play out an Edward. Going to use that Edward effect, probably going to try and change that Elechick to defense position. The question is, though, is he going to be able to connect with that back row from Law? Is that a live back row? It probably is, I would imagine. It's going to need to be... I don't think there's anything in the game that's going to prevent 2 Elestrals from hitting over this. He's going to shield the Eddie back to hand, and then that Astrabbit will be able to connect over the Elechick. Guaranteed. Spirit differential is only 1. We have somehow gone from Werts being down a total, I believe, of 7 or 8 spirits at one point in this game to only a 1 spirit differential, with only a 1 spirit differential on field as well. Law gonna go ahead and play at a Quackle, healing yet again. He has activated the equivalent of 2 Ambrosias this game. Werts also having played out 2 Ambrosias as well, though, keeping this game fairly tight, but Law still up in advantage. Gonna go ahead and swing the Quackle, and that's going to eat another Tsunami from Werts. He has played both of his Tsunamis at this point. This has been this is a surprising amount of grit for Werts, staying in this game somehow, swapping that Astrabbit to defense position. missed off of the Tsunami. He's going to go ahead and resting on your laurels, likely going to hit out that Astrabbit, as that's going to be very difficult for him to get over. He's only on one spirit, though. Does he want to play out on Lester? He's going for the Draking, misenchanted with Thunder. The 8 attack, Draking, swinging over the Quackle. He's insulated from a resting on your laurels, but there's lots of outs in the Law's deck. He's going to go for the Ambrosia. That telegraphs a resting in hand. And yep, there's the resting on your laurels, taking out the Draking. And Werts is likely just gonna, yep, he's not even a scoop. He knows it's over. There it is. There's the scoop. 0 spirits in spirit deck. Nothing he could do from there. Let's go ahead and see if he can take it back game 2. We're hopping right into Clash number 2 here. Werts starting first. Setting to back row. Normaling a Gloombat, a very interesting normal summon here. There's not a lot of really good options for the Draking deck going first. It's basically Astrabbit is your only real solid option. And Law gonna go ahead and play out a Galaxy immediately, which is very interesting. Playing that as opposed to holding on to it, keeping that hand information from Werts. If Werts now can play around Galaxy. That's the very interesting thing about playing it immediately. He's going to eat a Shield of Achilles to keep that Gloombat on field. A Gloombat now will be able to re-enchant, disenchant to pop that back row if he so desires. But Werts looks like he's just going to be playing out a Spectaris. But playing a Galaxy is kind of a confusing decision here. That is the kind of thing that I really would imagine you wanted to hold on to for as long as possible. But he's got the Arcolith! Werts in shambles potentially here without a Gorgon's Gaze or a Shield of Achilles. He played right into the Law's hand. He wanted to see those 2 attack position Elestrals. He's going to go ahead and enchant 2 from his Underworld, and it looks like he's swinging over the Spectaris for 3 damage. Oh, this is immediately going so massively out of Werts' control here. Down 13 spirits with a massive Arcolith sitting on field. Looks like Werts is considering popping that back row, going for the Gloombat. Disenchant. He will hit a Shield of Achilles. Will he be able to... Oh, he's got it! He's going for the Tadpup special cast and then going likely into the Draking! The Draking, which can steal the Arcolith and then swing for 2 damage direct as well. This is massive from Werts. It's going to put him down a lot of spirits, but up a lot on board, putting him with 4 spirits on board. This is absolutely a huge play that's going to be able to net him a lot of advantage here, potentially take control of this game, swing over the Arcolith, and then steal the Arcolith to his field with 2 spirits, and then swing for 2 damage on the Law's side. Now, there we go. All right, the Arcolith has made its way to the top of the screen. It looks like Werts went off camera to attempt to find an Arcolith to put onto his field, but could not find it. He swings for 2 damage, bringing himself to 4 spirits on field. 5 spirit differential in spirit deck. Law's gonna set a card and just immediately pass. Wow. Don't even know if he expected to draw there. Werts draws, sets a card, attacks with the Arcolith, which will be bounced back to the Law's hand. What an incredible interaction. Law spending 3 spirits here to be able to do that, equalizing to 8 apiece here, but absolutely at potentially a very good spot here. There's a lot of things that do it. Ambrosia going to try and stabilize some of the lost spirits here. Oh, he's got the Earthquake in hand. He adds back the 2 Earth from the Underworld for the Earthquake on the Draking. Werts, you can see the life leave his eyes. He knows that from this position, it's looking very rough. Law going to be able to Quackle. Oh, wow. Law has invested so many spirits this turn, but is still up over Werts at 10-7. Doesn't have any back row either. This is absolutely insane. The hand from Law is just crazy this game. He's seen every single answer he needs. Werts going to hit the Astrabbit. Going to be necessary to start digging for any sort of answer to the Law's massive spirit deck at this point. The Quackle just going to get to sit there. Potentially could be ascended into an Arcolith. Looks like instead we are going for the Galaxy. Very interesting. Maybe we have a Zeus in hand, potentially. The Galaxy going to eat a poison-tipped arrow, where it's not wanting to let that stick around for long, especially with Draking sitting potentially in hand. Looks like, yes, the Zeus is going to come out here. Going to be our way to out the Astrabbit. Going to Zeus down the Astrabbit, and then likely swing with the Galaxy. This is the hard thing about the Galaxy, is that Poison Tipped Arrow means it still gets your Astro Rabbits. Any 5 defense attacker or defender is just going to get outed, and Poison Tipped Arrow is going to mean that you can't do anything about it because Galaxy just makes it a 0 defense. Looks like the Poison Tipped Arrow is going to pay out. Werts down to only 3 spirits, and he can't be feeling too great about this position. He's expending to draw. Oh no. Oh no. He's got the Ambrosia though. He's going to stabilize at least a little bit, stop the bleeding to 4 spirits here in Spirit deck. Heals back a Thunder, 2 Water, potentially has a Rabbit in hand. He checks his back row and passes. Looks like Law could be going for a game shot here if he ascends into Arcolith. That looks like what he's going to be doing. He's going to send over the Quackle into Arcolith unless there is a Shield of Achilles or a Gorgon's Gaze. This is lights out for Werts. There isn't anything he can do about it. There's going to be 3 spirits coming onto Arcolith, which means that Werts will be going to 0 spirits in Spirit deck if the attack connects here. Looks like actually Law going to be economical here. He's going to enchant to 4 under the Arcolith, which will put Werts on exact 0. Put 1 more under the Zeus. That will eat a Tsunami. Werts is going to stay in this game, at least for the time being. But will he be able to out a 4 defense Arcolith? There's no back row from Law. Gonna be hard to out it though. The Astro Rabbit digging for another answer, but I don't know what many answers there are left. It's resting on your laurels is an option that's left in deck, which is what he's gonna hit off the top. All right. Caster's Curse, my bad. He hit it exactly. He's got 1 spirit left in deck though. Not much he can do. Into 6 spirits, Zeus on board. Any normal cast does it for Law. Misenchanted Jolton to play around the Tsunami potential from Werts. No response likely from Werts though. Only 1 spirit in Spirit deck. Zeus down the Astro Rabbit. And then swinging with Jolton, it looks like Werts gonna let it go through. 1 spirit in Spirit deck. Oh, this feels so bad for Werts. He looks at his hand, looks at his Spirit deck, plays the Eddy. It's something. It's not nothing. It's something. He swings over the Jolton, and he passes his turn. Does the Law have any cast? A Quackle does it. Jolton. Yep. He's gonna. Werts is smiling. He knows there's nothing he can do. Law searching out the Mount Olympus. It gets played down. He doesn't even need to use the Zeus effect. Sets a back row, swings over the Eddy, and that's it from Werts. My fellow Lunar caster taken down by someone from the Thunder Pantheon. Congratulations to the TheLawYGO for progressing on from top 8 to top 4. Sucks to see Werts go, but he can still make a run back in the losers bracket. And with that, that's our clash for the day. Make sure to check back tomorrow for another one. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you for another one tomorrow. Unless this was the last one for this cycle, in which case there might be a daybreak. Who knows? Daybreak? All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.